Thank you very much. Councillor Dalton.
Thank you, Chair. I actually have a question that I kind of thought about over the weekend. I'm really keen to know where responsibility lies for nighttime street lighting. I was in a meeting 18 months ago with Surrey leaders and the then PCC, and it seemed to be a potato, with one saying that they were waiting for the police and the police saying that they would turn the lights on when Surrey told them to. Yet again in this report, the number of respondents who are claiming nighttime street lighting of major concern. I live somewhere in a station that has a footfall of 1.8 million people. Once I get off the main thoroughfare, the lights are off. The last train comes home and I have to walk home with a torch on my phone to get home safely. This is in a Zone 5 area. Who is actually responsible for nighttime street lighting and how do we get them turned back on?
Thank you, Councillor Dalton. It is one of my great frustrations as well, and it has been for some time. The easy answer is Surrey County Council. And it's a conversation I have had with numerous council members many times, and I find it quite honestly infuriating when they keep putting it back to police. We neither have the mechanisms nor the data in order to turn the street lights back on, so we couldn't do it even if we wanted to. It is very squarely with Surrey County Council. I get very annoyed when the County Council or officers suggest that the reason that lights haven't been turned on or won't be turned on is because the police haven't asked for them to be, or the police haven't said for them to be, because that's not the reason. It's entirely in the County Council's gift as to whether they turn them back on or not. I'm frustrated by the mixed messaging that my office gets. I'm frustrated by the different answers that I get when I ask about it. And I think that, you know, if this panel today could achieve anything, is put the message out there quite squarely that it is a Surrey County Council role to turn the lights on or not. It is entirely up to them. Now, police, absolutely, we have a role to support them in terms of data, but quite frankly, Surrey Police, my office, our mantra is always not just that people are safe, but that they feel safe. And it cannot be right that something has to happen, whether you're a man or a woman or a child, in order for a decision to be taken to put the lights on. It's quite simply, and I've been in the same position as you, Councillor Dalton. You know, you and I have both, I suspect, walked home from train stations using the light on our phone, clutching our keys, speaking to somebody on the phone, hoping that if anything happens, you know, there will at least be a record, but conscious that by the fact that we're on our phone means we're not paying a proper attention to our surroundings. Any woman I know has been there. And something should not have to happen to us or to any other woman or man in order for a case to be made to put the lights on. If you don't feel safe and it's what the community want, the lights should be switched on. I couldn't be clearer in that. And I would welcome every councillor around this table's lobbying the county council in order to make this absolutely clear. Where residents want the lights put on, they should be put on. And it is not for the police to be making that case for residents.
Thank you, Commissioner. Can I just add to that? Perhaps you ought to bring in... Have you spoken to the leader of Surrey County Council about the frustration? Just a thought, otherwise we'd have brought it up. Okay. Right, who have we got now?
Could I just respond to that, please?
Okay, and then Councillor Kennedy.
Thank you, Chairman. I appreciate what the Commissioner has said, but actually this is not a black and white situation. Certainly in my experience in my area, when the policy was introduced to turn off some street lights in not on main roads, but in some residential areas, between, I think from memory, 1 AM and 6 AM, or that sort of overnight, it was made quite clear that if residents asked for that to be reconsidered, and it had the support of the local police, and there were several examples where this happened, and the police did support the residents concerned, and they were those lights were put back on. So the key thing is, yes, at a Surrey-wide level, by all means, Chairman, we can take the issue up again, both with the leader of the council and others, but at a local level, that policy has worked in terms of asking, being considered and put back on. And the other thing to bear in mind is that one thing doesn't serve all, because there are large areas of the county, including my area, where there are no street lights at all, full stop, and therefore people are well used to this. I appreciate that in some urban areas it may have come as a bit of a surprise and therefore of concern, but in large parts of the rural areas, Chairman, there are no street lights and have not been, and residents don't want them either. So it's not a black and white situation, but I would entirely support what the Commissioner has said in terms of taking up the issue with Surrey once more.
Want to come back on that?
Yeah, only that the police are never going to disagree with residents if residents want the lights being put on. It is not police's place to agree or disagree with residents if they want the lights put on. And what bothers me about it is it adds an extra layer of bureaucracy at best.
I'm sorry, Chairman, this is quite out of order. The PCC doesn't understand what she's talking about. If you'd like, I will actually brief her up as to what actually happens when somebody puts in a request to turn the lights back on. I actually introduced the street lighting to Surrey as a project which we did in order to, one, save money, and two, to make sure we were actually still making sure our residents felt safe. If you want the lights to be reduced, or if you want the lights to be turned back on, you request it through Surrey. If there is an issue with regard to policing in that particular area, the police are asked for their opinion. But if residents actually have a case that they can make to turn the lights back on, it is happening, and still is happening. When it was introduced, and Monroe was the police commissioner, we worked very closely with him and the officers within the police force in order to ensure that every aspect of a request for change to back to where it was carried out. Where there were late arrival trains, the lights were extended to 12:30 or even 1 o'clock in some instances. So all it needed was a request. Now, maybe because we've moved on since then, it's been some time ago since this happened, that people have not really understood what happens now. I still get requests for people to turn lights back on, and the first thing I say is, on what basis? Most of it is because they don't feel safe and there has been burglaries, and my car has been done, 2 tires have gone. So you then go to the police and say, what are the stats behind this resident, and is there any truth in the rumour? And the police either say, yes, there is, or no,
what I'd like to see is, obviously there's a debate about this, and there seems some unsureness. Can we have some clarity at a later date?
We can, but before Councillor Fury was rudely interrupted me, I think he missed my point, which was the police shouldn't be involved. That's when I'm talking about the extra bureaucracy. I'm fully aware of what happens, Councillor Fury, not just in Runnymede, which is your area and mine, but across the county. And I've spoken to council leaders about this. I've spoken to the leader of the county council and others in cabinet positions about it. I am fully aware of what happens. My point is that the police shouldn't have to become involved in it. If a woman doesn't feel safe and she wants to have the lights turned on, that should be a matter for the county council. It should not be a matter for policing, because the police cannot interfere on whether somebody feels safe or doesn't. Now, as Councillor Dalton has said, clearly the system isn't working, and all I want is clarity around it, and I don't want it being delayed because the county council think or insist that the police should be involved in it. We need a very clear system whereby if residents don't feel safe, they can go to the county council and find it. Now, of course, the county council can contact police and find out if anything has happened. What I'm saying is something shouldn't have to happen to a woman or to anybody in order for a case to be made to put the lights back on. That is simply all I'm saying. I'm aware of the current situation. I think it's wrong. And in my role as Police and Crime Commissioner, it is absolutely for me to say when I think that something isn't working as it should be. And I think the question from Councillor Dalton was an incredibly valid one. I think the answer from Councillor Witham was a very valid one. But I think that we do need to come to a solution here, Councillor Fury. And I'm not sure that being interrupted and told that I don't understand the situation helps any of us get to a solution. Now, I'd be delighted to work with Councillor Witham and Councillor Dalton outside of this room in order to see what we can do and to work with the cabinet holders at Surrey County Council. And I hope that that's something that we can all agree on. Thank you, Chairman.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. As I said, I'd like to see something that is clear across the county and not differing